She was not willing to do this, but she was helpless. Neka stood at the edge of the village, her heart pounding like a drum. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the huts and the dusty paths. In her hands, she clutched a small bundle of clothes, her sister Adai's clothes. Tonight, she would become Adai's. Tonight, she would step into a life that was not hers, all to save her sister from a cruel fate. Yoneka's mind raced as she walked toward Dyke's compound. She could still hear Adazi's tearful voice, begging her to change her mind. "We don't have to do this," Adazi had said. "I'll find another way." But Neka knew there was no other way. Dyke was a powerful man, and their father had already accepted his bride price. If Adazi ran away, Dyke would hunt her down, and their family would suffer. Neka couldn't let that happen. She had always been the strong one, the one who carried the weight of others' troubles. This time would be no different. Neka slipped into Adai's room, her movements quick and silent. Adais was waiting, her eyes red from crying. "Are you sure about this?" Adaizi whispered, her voice trembling. Neka nodded, though her own heart was heavy with fear. "I'm sure," she said. "You leave tonight. Go to Auntie Ifeoma's village. She'll take care of you." Adaize hugged her tightly, her tears wetting Neka's shoulder. "I'll never forget this," she said. "You're saving my life." Neka forced a smile. "Go now before it's too late." As Adaize disappeared into the night, Neka took a deep breath and began to change into her sister's clothes. She tied her hair the way Adaize always did and practiced her sister's soft, timid voice. When she looked in the mirror, she almost didn't recognize herself. She was no longer Neka, the strong and fearless sister. She was Adaize, the gentle and obedient wife. Dyke was waiting in the courtyard when Neka arrived. He looked at her with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. "You're late," he said, his voice sharp. Neka bowed her head, just as Adai's would have done. "I'm sorry, my husband," she said softly. "I was preparing for the night." Dyke studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Come," he said, leading her into the house. That night, Neka lay beside Dyke, her body stiff with fear. She could feel his eyes on her, but she kept her face turned away, pretending to sleep. Her mind raced with thoughts of Adai's. Was she safe? Had she reached Auntie Ifeoma's village? Neka prayed silently, asking the ancestors to watch over her sister. As the days turned into weeks, Neka settled into a new role. She cooked, cleaned, and tended to Dyke's needs, always careful to act like Adaizi. But it wasn't easy. Dyke was a difficult man, quick to anger and slow to show kindness. He demanded perfection, and when Neka fell short, he punished her with harsh words and cold silence. Yet, despite his cruelty, Neka began to see another side of Dyke. There were moments when he was gentle, moments when he spoke to her with a tenderness that surprised her. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Dyke told her about his childhood, how he had grown up poor and hungry, how he had worked tirelessly to build his wealth. "I've never had anyone I could trust," he said, his voice softer than usual. "But with you, I feel different." Neka's heart ached at his words. She wanted to tell him the truth, to confess that she was not Adaize. But she couldn't. The risk was too great. One day, while Neka was fetching water from the river, she heard a familiar voice calling her name. She turned and saw Adaize standing among the trees, her face pale with fear. "Nika," Adaize whispered, "I had to come back. I couldn't leave you like this." Neka's heart sank. "You shouldn't be here," she said, glancing around nervously. "If Dyke finds out—" "I don't care," Adaze interrupted. I can't let you suffer for me. We'll tell him the truth together. Before Neka could respond, Dyke appeared, his eyes blazing with anger. What is this? He demanded, looking from Neka to Adaze. Who are you? Neka stepped forward, her voice steady despite her fear. I am Neka, she said. Adaze's sister. I took her place to protect her from you. Dyke's face darkened, but before he could speak, Adaze stepped forward. Please, she said, her voice trembling. Don't punish her. She did it for me. For a long moment, Dyke was silent. Then, to everyone's surprise, he nodded. You are both brave, he said. Braver than I have been. I will not punish you, but you must leave. Both of you. Neka and Adaze returned to their village, their hearts heavy but hopeful. Dyke kept his word, leaving them in peace. Over time, the sisters rebuilt their lives, finding strength in each other and in the love of their family. Dyke, too, changed. He became a kinder man, one who valued love and loyalty above power and wealth. Though he never saw Neka and Adaze again, he often thought of them, their courage a reminder of the person he wanted to be.